the Red Centre, home of the Anangu for more than 60,000 years. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to elders past and present. Our first stop is Uluru, formed during the dream time when the Anangu ancestors emerged and travelled across these lands. Chukapa describes how the world was created, how everything came to be. The best quote for this is Chukapa is everything and everything is Chukapa.
An Anangu friend of mine, Cecilia, she pointed this out to me. She stopped me and said, no, this was once this. This has been cut off and carved out to make a bowl. This tree here is called a bloodwood, and you can see that from the sap that comes out. This is a super handy tree too. So this is bush medicine, bush food, all in one tree. So this sap has antiseptic and anesthetic properties. So rub it on a cut, it'll dry it out and actually numb it as well. Get a bit of the bark, you chew it, it'll kill off a toothache. On the branches too, there's a flying insect that'll land on there, and the tree will grow around it, a growth. And on the inside it'll grow a white-like flesh. We call that a bush coconut. When it drops down to the ground and it turns grey, you can get it, crack it open, eat the bug, but also scoop out that flesh. Kind of has the texture of coconut, but it doesn't have much taste. Good nutrients, 4 uses from a tree: medicine, food, and a tool. Everything has a use. It used to be the main hunting ground. You see, down there's a water hole, and that water hole used to not be touched. It used to just be for hunting purposes. So you didn't want to get your skin oils in there, and you didn't want to go too close to it because you'd scare the animals away. So you'd wait for them to come down there, and on their way out, you'd hunt in this area. That was a big part of teaching. So you had to teach how to hunt. And for those bush boys, they didn't know how to disguise themselves, how to act in a way that wouldn't scare off those animals, so they had to watch. So behind here is where they'd sit when the men were out hunting. And you see, if we walk around this side, it's pretty much a little hide. Got a hole straight there that looks out on this area. You'd sit around just watching. So this was genuinely a classroom. It's one of my favourite places to be. It's our first of our creation stories, so the Chukapa stories. And to talk about them is to give a bit of context that these creation beings can take the forms of animals, can take the forms of people, but also can take the forms of the personification of an animal, the personification of even a tree or a part of a tree as well. So we'll speak about that through the stories. This story is centered around 2 different kinds of snakes. The first one is called a warmer python, or in the language, a kunya. And in the story, it's a woman, so Mimya Kunya. And she's out to the east of here, near a place called El Dunda. She had a bad feeling in her stomach that she had to come out to Uluru. She had eggs out there, so she created a ceremony to tie those eggs around her neck and travelled out here to Uluru, getting to just around that corner at a place called Kunya Piti, or Kunya's Bowl, where she laid those eggs down and then hunted out from there. But when she'd arrived here, she heard something. She heard what had happened to her nephew, another one of these warmer pythons, or kunya. It's a non-venomous snake. And he'd been out on another country, on the poisonous brown snake, or the Liru country. And he'd violated Aboriginal traditional law. Well, when that happens, you've got to stay and receive a punishment. Usually, a spear through the thigh. But what happened was Kunya's nephew had it. He'd run away, being chased by those Liru, the poisonous brown snake. Eventually getting out here, he was speared over the other side of Uluru. But also in Aboriginal law, if you are punished, you've got to heal that person back to health. There's no point in punishing without healing to learn from mistakes. But what happened was Liru left Kunya's nephew to himself. Hearing about this, Kunya came over and confronted Liru and asked him about, what did you do to my nephew? And he just laughed at her. And so at this time, filled with grief and anger about what had happened to her nephew, she created a ceremony and turned herself into a human form. In her human form, she created something called an arati, which is a poison. And as she did so, she knelt down on her knees with her wana, or digging stick about this long, that wide, held over her head, flicking sand over her. This is the first piece of our physical evidence we can see. That's the tracks of Punya as she came here. Continuing down, she turned herself into a human form. In that eroded piece, you can see the head up the top, arched back behind, and the wana or digging stick out in front of her. She was flicking sand over her to protect herself from that poison. So with that wana or digging stick, she hit him once. See that diagonal line down there? But still, Liru was strong, and so she hit him once again. See that vertical line? And if you glance over, there's a horizontal line just to the left of it. Well, that's Liru's eye closing for the last time.
You ready for tonight?
Yeah, no.
First night in the Outback.
You're recording it.
Oh. Mate, he ducked out.
Is he okay?
Yeah. What?
He's hiding.
Yeah, this is all metal though, isn't it?
Stand on the table. Just earthing. No, that is close. That literally just hit there.
Keep in. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Of course. Is he okay?
What? Yeah, he said get inside. Keep inside. Stay low.
Stay low.
That lightning strike was 300 meters away.
How did it? 300 meters away.
He looked at the weather map. Oh my god.
Do you want a hand in there?
Dude, that fucking scared me so much.
Whoa.
Yeah, man.
So those two were under half a kilometre away.
So what?
Under half a kilometre away, the last strikes.
Half a kilometre. Even though I can run that, that's it. So is it getting closer or further?
Right, we're in the middle of it.
Okay.
Memorable Barbie. Did you say who's got a boner?
Who's got a bar of soap?
I thought you said who's got a boner.
Guys, it's all going to chaos.
To be fair, it is quite exciting if I had a thing that's like that.
Oh my god.
Whoa! Shit, that break.
This storm is mad. Oh.
Good morning, campers. Breakfast is ready.
No idea. Enjoy breakfast?
What a choice.
Yeah, sure.
3:30 AM start.
Yeah, early rise. Early rise to see the sunrise.
Over at Uluru.
Distance.
And then Kathmandu, which...
Katajura. No?
Kathmandu, isn't it?
Katajuta.
Katajuta. Oh, okay, yeah.
Katajuta.
My bad.
Meaning many heads.
Voilà.
Although actually it means heads many technically, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So we're at Katajuta, which is a sacred men's work site, home to the giant snake Wanambi during the dream time. Wanambi was an ancestral being responsible for the formation of gullies, rivers and billabongs. The Jukapa stories, which are the stories that link the Anangu to the environment and their ancestors, are only shared with initiated Anangu men. So as a visitor, we know very little surrounding GanaDji because of its spiritual significance.
What you also want to see and hear is a bird we saw a couple of flying just before. It's a finch called a zebra finch. And these birds eat grains and actually the native figs as well, which make them super thirsty. So they don't usually travel more than about 1 kilometre from a stable water source. So what you can do is use that sound, use the trees to start to gauge where there might be some surface water you'd be able to drink. I'm going to talk about and show you guys the geological composition, because I said that there were 2 different alluvial fans, depressions in the ground that filled up with sediment and rocks that were then baked essentially under pressure to create the sedimentary rocks that make up Uluru and GanaDji. So GanaDji was those larger rocks, and we can see that right here. But because they were washing down in a river, they're not angular. These are river stuff. And igneous rocks being lava that's flowed out over onto the earth. So you can see some basalt there. These are more granites up there, some pink massive granite up there. Yeah, that's really how it all works, the composition of all of this structure. So this is what it's all made of. Very different in terms of looks to Uluru. And the red comes from the same thing, the iron content. It's rusty. I was traveled a long way to see some rusty rock.
Nothing for miles, is there? This is the hottest part of the Outback.
Yeah.
And coldest.
Yeah.
And this is the cattle ranch. So it's 1 million square acres. For 2,000 cattle. Mad. So this lad here is walking from Melbourne to Uluru.
Sky has so much to enjoy your time in Australia. We're all a bunch of sickos. You'll find that your time will be blessed with a love, and sooner or later we're all gonna die. I'm joking that up. Is that recording?
Yeah.
Oh no, shit, that's just the camera. How are you?
Yeah, no, yeah,
Sorry,
all good.
I'm a bit wet.
Yeah, give me a hug.
How long till you get to Uluru?
About another 30.
30 days.
From Melbourne to Adelaide, even to Port Augusta, I was really just cruising about, you know, like, but up here, since I hit the Northern Territory border, South Australia and lower, so like Northern Territory, it's been like 5-10 k's maximum a day. So today's a cold day, you know what I mean? Like,
We had a
crazy.
massive heat, so I saw you on a 40 plus clear.
Yeah, I was just sitting in the fucking sun, like.
Sitting under a tree.
Have a good one.
What's your name?
My name's Sam.
Sam?
Yeah.
George.
First Outback beers. And we're in...
We are at Kings Canyon Station, where they export camels. And over there they've got a identity crisis donkey that thinks he's a camel called Bruce. And he has been trying to, he thinks he's so much of a donkey that he's been trying to have his wicked way with the lady, not donkey, camels. And he got in a fight with the big boy camel and bit his ear off. And now he's called Chopper.
And the reason they started selling camels was because they had camels here and a Saudi Arabian person came and asked how much the guy wanted for camels, and the guy, thinking he was being cheeky, asked for
A crate of beer.
well, no, a crate, he
A
said,
crate.
and he meant a crate of beer, and the next day the guy turned up with a crate of money.
I heard honey.
You idiot.
Oh, money makes more sense than honey.
Yeah, of course it does. You don't.
I just thought we really liked honey.
And you're going to try some sweet chili and sour cream. Oh,
They're very good.
Or aboriginal.
Oh, well, he's not wrong. Have a go on them, babe.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You okay, gorgeous? Hello. Hello. You gorgeous boy.
Nice. Like a butt scratch?
Not tea. Hopefully we can stay on the swags tonight. We'll be out in the bush. You just had your first bush wee?
Yeah.
What was that as your view?
That was my wee with a view.
I mean, you did have one in the wilderness last night though. We've been upgraded to the penthouse suite.
Yeah, it's fine.
Go and jump in.
Which way?
Just that way. After. Are we going to firm it, yeah?
Oh, I was going to flash it.
No. Are we going to firm it?
Yeah. Okay, fine. Send it.
Yeah? Because it's got rubber tyres, so if it's lightning...
Well, I think it's safe, isn't it?
Yeah.
How beautiful.
He's stunning, isn't he?
Yeah.
So we're at Kings Canyon. This is probably going to be one of our hardest walks we've done so far. Quite a steep climb initially, but yeah, I think there's 500 steps. It's non-man-made, quite steep steps to climb up, and then you walk along the canyon ridge, and then we drop down into the canyon after, I think, and you see some little ecosystems, which should be cool. You excited for this canyon walk?
Yeah.
Nervous about the steps?
Nervous about them. I can see them.
Oh, they're there. Oh, it doesn't look that
They
bad.
don't look like real steps. Looks like people are just mountain goating.
Yeah, that's alright.
That is his normal pose.
Those sands were layered with more sands and more sands, and eventually became sandstone under pressure. Eventually, after that, 400 million years ago, there was a large tectonic event called the Alice Springs orogeny. And that shifted this range upwards, pushed it up, and formed the range that we see now. And this was a small crack that over time, due to water erosion, has started to become far, far larger, and now has 150 metre plus sheer cliff walls of that sandstone. That sandstone though is crumbly, very, very crumbly. And I've actually slipped on a couple of occasions when rocks are given out from under me. And that's why we say 2 metres from the cliff edge, because it's not that you're going to fall off, but the rocks will fall off and you'll go with it. The rangers take it very, very seriously. The last person to fall off the cliff edge here, the ranger had to sleep with their body overnight, so it wasn't eaten by dingoes. So they're very, very strict, and the fines are huge, and so that's why I'm so strict about it as well.
Have you already taken your photos for it? Or?
What's this section called?
I call it the ghost gun.
The ghost town?
The ghost guns.
Ghost guns?
Ghost guns.
Why?
There's got ghost guns, bigger red guns.
Oh, ghost gums. I thought you said guns. Like pow pow pow. So what's this garden down? Garden of Eden it's called, is it?
Garden of Eden, yeah.
So this has got more plantation and wildlife than most of the Outback. Then we hit the Marini Loop, a 300-kilometre dirt track road leading us to the McDonald's Ranges. So we've arrived to Camp 3. We got a fire going. A few people are cooking inside. I'm playing a bit of Bob Marley for them. Yeah, we're closer to Alice Springs now. We did about a 3-hour journey down a horrendous dirt track for about 2.5 hours. But it was a hell of an experience. It was cool. Loads of wild horses. We saw some camels. Didn't manage to capture that. But yeah, just cooking some dinner now. Saw a golden orb spider, which was awesome. Gonna have spag bowl tonight, and then back on the road tomorrow. And hopefully tonight we'll get a full night in the swag bags, because last night we stayed on top of the, whatever that is, the trailer pretty much. Stayed on top of that, and it absolutely lightning and fucking horrendous rain. And we were out there for about an hour, and the whole thing was moving. And we just got drenched through, so we moved into the bus. So we've got a golden orb spider up here, which produces the strongest webs in the world. I thought I'd film the spag bowl being made.
Oh, I don't know about that one. Oh, code, mate. Don't tell the end.
It's Michelin star. We just had a fire kite fly over camp. So they're called a fire kite because during bushfires they'll go and grab a stick and light the stick from the bushfire and fly further away, and then drop the stick to create another fire. It then scares the animals and they can see easier and hunt as the animals sort of disperse away from the fire. So something I don't think I spoke about was on the second night of camp. It was quite late, so I don't think I got my camera back out. He wasn't sure what exactly. There was 2 options it could have been, but it was either the most venomous snake in the world or the third most. If you get bitten, the best thing to do, you have to apply pressure, so you have to sort of pressure wrap. So you got bitten on the ankle, you wrap all the way up the leg to reduce the blood flow, and then the best thing for you to do is just sit down and relax and calm down as much as you can. That reduces the blood flow around the body, stops the poison or the venom travelling around the body as fast, gives you more time, and then a helicopter will come pick you up if you're in the middle of nowhere, and then they would provide the right anti-venom. Some of the white and yellow ochre pits.
And so instead of all of the different colours in the clay-like soils being this way, they've turned 90 degrees, and so now they face like that, and so we get a cross-section like this of all the different colours. So through this first bit here, we've got yellows and whites, and then as we go down, we have purples and reds and oranges through there as well. It's hard, I find it difficult here to explain how significant that this site actually is, because for Aboriginal people, the paints that they used were one of the main ways that expressed themselves. And because of that, it was one of the most sought after commodities. One of the main trading resources. You know, you could always trade ochre for food in case of a worst case scenario. So coming here as an Aboriginal person, it's a very, very sensitive and a very, very special place, because it's the biggest store in Australia of probably the most important, one of the most spiritually important resources.
And how would they make the paint, Alicia? Do you remember?
Grind it up and either mix it with animal fats or urine or water.
This is urine because water was quite hard.
Scarce, yeah.
Some of the youngest sedimentary, so the ones closer to the surface as it's been pushed up and twisted. The youngest is about 400 million years old, and some of the bottom layers, which are all the way down over that end, is some of the oldest. No idea how old it dates back to.
This here are called a McDonald's cycad. So cycads are typically a rainforest type vegetation, but well, they grow here. The funny thing, these are remnants of a very different type of vegetation in the area. So 200 million years ago, the climates here were far more rainforest-like, far more humid. The ocean was far closer. What has happened is this has remained, and it's remained in spite of changes to climate and in changes to the world. And it remains in places like this, which get more water and more shade, adapting and being a relic species out in the desert of a very different vegetation. And they've done all this relying on a very, very small insect to pollinate them. You see, they've got both a male and female plant. And this insect, which is 1 millimetre in size, has had the responsibility of flying between the male and female to pollinate over that time. So 200 million years relying on one species of insect.
So, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We're listening to a river red gum taproot so you can hear the water.
The aboriginals would hear that, and if they could hear that there was water, they can dig down by about a foot, maybe a bit more, and they'll get water to drink.
Apparently so.
Between 1905 and the early 1970s, thousands of Aboriginal children were forcefully removed from their families by Australian government agencies and church missionaries to assimilate them into white society, fracturing thousands of years of cultural and spiritual dynasties. This became known as the Stolen Generations. It wasn't until 2008 that a formal apology was made to the members of the Stolen Generations.